This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
You have spent years on this radio program hammering it into our heads.
Yes.
You've got to have your income plan in place and figuring out how to create those income streams. I mean, that's probably step one of the retirement plans you build. Is it not?
It is, but it's the hardest one, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Which investment? How do we do that? You know, you've been trying to grow it, and now it's like, okay, now you don't just say, okay, and start income. You know, with your investments, you got to, different investments do different things.
Okay.
You know, they do them better than others, right? So kind of reshuffling the whole deck is what you've got to do.
Yeah. Okay. Different investments do different things, different opportunities, different options that we have just as tax-paying citizens do different things. Maybe some people are lucky enough to have a pension. Others have never had a pension. They got to figure out how to generate income from their 401k. Of course, Social Security comes into play. When it comes to paying ourselves in retirement, Morningstar's Christine Benz was talking about the combination of two types of guaranteed income. She says that she likes a combination of Social Security and an annuity. Here's what she said.
The annuity might go hand in hand with someone employing a flexible withdrawal strategy. So if you have your sort of basic living expenses locked down with a combination of Social Security and possibly an annuity, that can give you more comfort. It can just make it easier to perhaps tighten your belt after a year like 2022 when stocks and bonds both fell simultaneously. So I actually think those two things work really nicely together, where you've got more stable lifetime income.
She brought up that year that you also always talk about, the year that was 2022, the lessons that we learned in that space. She brought up the idea of flexible withdrawal strategies. There was actually a lot of content she gave us right there in that 30 seconds. So let's break it down a little bit, Brandon. Do you use this type of strategy when you're creating and building out plans?
I do.
Okay.
I do, yes. So when people come in, I want to know, okay, well, what all do you have as a part of your plan? You know, what do you have a pension like your parents used to have? You know, they're getting less and less common, of course, right?
Right.
So if you don't, where most people just have Social Security as far as like a protected income stream. Okay. And so if that's all you got, well, then that begs the question, are you okay with Social Security being the only, air quotes, guarantee that you have for retirement income, right? And most people would say, gosh, I want more. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how safe that is, you know?
Right, because that's the thing about Social Security. It's like everything is different now than it was even just for our parents. Even Social Security, straight from the horse's mouth. The Social Security Administration talks about how if things don't change, there's going to be trouble. None of us, this is not fear-mongering, Brandon. None of us believe Social Security is going away, but things are going to have to change in that space.
Yes, they talk about, you know, a reduction in your payments and all this stuff. And you're just like, wait a second, I've paid all these, my whole life into this thing, and now you're saying that, like, so we'll do another segment on that.
Okay.
But so yes, a lot of people do. They go, you know what? I want my own private pension. Okay. I want some other guarantees in my life here, you know, at least with a portion of what I need each month. You know, and that's what Christine was talking about there. She mentioned a flexible withdrawal strategy. Yes, that's one way we can use some of the best fixed indexed annuities with no fees, guaranteed no losses, where we have just a nice steady drawdown coming out of there. There's other annuities where they actually guarantee you lifetime income. Okay. Even if that account completely runs out of money, they guarantee you that this income will never stop here. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me kind of give just a quick story. This is like the best way I know to describe the peace of mind that annuities can bring. Let's say that you have a grandchild, a granddaughter, grandson, whatever. They're 5 years old, and you are hosting a birthday party. Okay. So they're coming over. That's great. You went and got the cookie cake or the regular cake. I don't know. I like a good cookie cake for a birthday party. From Publix or Great American Cookie Company,
So
Heather.
good.
Which one do you like?
I don't care. My whole mouth just filled with saliva. How dare you? It's bathing suit season, Brandon. Please get back to the money.
Okay. So you've got one cookie cake, but the problem here is you don't know how many kids are coming. You're like, what in the world? Well, how do you know how big the first ones start showing up? And they're like, yeah, I want my slice of cake here. Well, how big do you cut? I mean, or do you have 10 kids coming, or are there 20 kids coming?
Right.
30 kids? You don't know. So what, I mean, I guess what I would do is I would just go like, okay, what are the averages here? I mean, how popular is my kid? You know, what do we think? What do we think, honey? How many kids do you think we should plan for here? Well, you might start doing like your normal slices, but let's say kids keep coming and you're going to start going, oh gosh, you're going to start cutting, an extra cut in there, a double cut, right? You're going to start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay. And then the worst would be more kids show up and you're like, sorry, we have no cake, no ice cream, we're all out.
So
right?
sad. Yes.
That would be terrible. What if you had a deal with Publix or Great American Cookie Company where if you ran out of that cake, we will gladly bring you another one. Don't worry about it. Okay?
Sounds good.
We're going to bring you another one. So you can then serve slices with confidence. Okay? You can say, all right, you get an eighth of this whole thing. I got more. It's all good. I got another one. Bring it out. Right? So you keep cutting slices here because you know that you're not going to run out of cake. Same thing with your retirement income. Okay. It's kind of a stretch here with my story, but that's what we can do is you can spend with confidence. You know that paycheck will never run out. Okay.
Got it.
If you get one with a lifetime income guarantee on there is where you can say, all right. And this is where then I toss it back to you, my client here, where I might say, hey, okay, with your expenses, let's say you need $7,000 a month. Okay. But you want $10,000 a month. Okay. But, so if you need $7,000, I'll say, okay, how much of this need because of your living expenses, transportation, your food, all this stuff, how much of that $7,000 do you want guaranteed never to stop? Right.
Okay.
And so you might say, well, 5,000 of it. Okay. So then we'll go out there and we'll say, okay, well, how much money will it take to guarantee a $5,000 a month income stream here? Okay. And so then you've got 5,000 from the annuity. You've got your Social Security coming in, which is another little bit, right? So think of that. It's the idea of you being able to retire knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt, no matter how long you live, right? You might get longevity. You might make it into your hundreds like my grandmother did, right? It doesn't matter if you live that long, but this income is going to be there for you, right?
Yeah.
If you're sitting there going like, that's what I want. That's what I've been missing. I feel like we've saved a lot of money, but I just don't have this confidence, right? I don't have the confidence that my income is always going to be there. Let me give you my phone number right now. I invite you to call or text us. That number is 843-890-2400. 843-890-2400. If you've saved $500,000 or more, we can design a plan for you. Okay. And I want to provide this for the next 5 listeners who call or text, and you can text the word income. If you text the word income, my assistant Tanya is standing by right now. She'll text you right back, or she'll call you and, try to find out a time where we can have a 15-minute conversation. Or if you want to go ahead and set up an appointment, we'll do this complimentary for you. 843-890-2400. But back to my story. So, think of that again, where you've got that consistent income, guaranteed lifetime income coming in. There's even some annuities where, let's say you can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. Okay.
This is where the healthcare, you're talking about when our health, as we get older, or really any time in life, a medical situation affects us. Okay.
Yeah. So if you get, eating, bathing, dressing, transferring, peeing and pooping, I like to say, if you can't do 2 of those 6 things, what if this income that was coming from the annuity, what if it doubled to help pay for that stuff?
So, and what is that called? There's something specific that,
an
annuity product. Is it a healthcare rider, an income rider on that? Yeah.
They name them different things. So it could be a healthcare doubler, income doubler, long-term care rider, things like that. So now another thing, annuities aren't perfect, right? There's some out there that have high fees. Okay. So that's really where my value comes in.
Right.
If you say, well, Brandon, I heard they have high fees, and I'll say, okay, well, how about
some of them do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them do, but how about if I just show you the ones with no fees?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, they have gotten so good. They've gotten so good. And also, when we do this and we allocate a portion, maybe 30, 40, 50%, of your savings towards this annuity here, then that means that we don't have to be sitting in bond funds and other things that are low growth, with your portfolio.
And
right?
Sometimes low growth, maybe more risk than you think. I mean, something else we've learned about bonds in the past few years.
That's right. Because back in 2022, bond funds went down 18%.
Yep.
You were like, what the heck? I was in a 60-40,
thought I was
stocks and bonds,
adding security, and here we are.
And that whole portfolio, yes, went.
Yep.
So bonds are not safe.
Yep.
Okay,
That's right.
Certain
Not
bond funds are not safe. So what we like to do is use the annuity as a bond replacement because they guarantee us no risk. They guarantee us no losses.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So we allocate a portion to it that's going to provide the income. That's what you want and what you need in retirement. Right? You walk away from your employer. You say, thank you very much. You walk away. Your portfolio is now your employer.
Yep.
Okay. It needs to pay you for the rest of your life. Still have some left over so we can have a legacy. We can bless kids, grandkids a little bit. Right. So that's what we use. That's where this annuity fits in, and if you've thought, okay, I don't want an annuity. I don't like it. It probably because it didn't align with your goals. Up to this point here, right? If your goals were to grow the money, then I would say, yes, do not do an annuity for growth.
Which is important to point out that annuities are not for everybody. You have created plans where annuities weren't included. You're not going to sit here and push an annuity on somebody. It's just about if it works for them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's say you come in. Let me give you an example where I would say, no, you don't need one.
Okay.
You come in, you sit down with us. We look at your portfolio. Maybe you've worked for the state of South Carolina as a teacher or in the healthcare, MUSC, whatever, and you've got a pension.
Yep.
Okay. You've got a defined benefit plan here, or maybe at Bowen, or you come in and you're like, hey, this is my pension from my military service, or I work for the federal government. And that's $5,000 a month here. We've got Social Security. I'm getting I'm going to get $3,000. My wife is going to get $2,000. Right. So time out. We're already at $10,000 a month.
Got it.
So if I see that, I'll go, okay, boom, I'll put a check mark by the kind of the protected income box.
Okay.
I'll say, you guys have enough protected income. So let's move on. I'll say, great job. You don't need an annuity for, lifetime income there. Now, so we'll start looking at the stock market. We'll start looking at growth strategies because you already have $120,000 a year coming in, right? So that's it. I just want to make sure that you've got enough protected income coming in. And if you don't have it, well, then that's where we need to go out and find it. And by the way, right now is the best I have seen in my 15 years of doing this. The annuities are the best. They're giving the highest payouts right now, the highest growth potential. Right? I mean, they are unbelievable. They're the best I've seen in 15 years. And that is because interest rates are so high. The 10-year treasury is so high. That's what these insurance companies, when we hand them your money, they turn around and go buy the 10-year bond, and they're making a lot of money off your money. So they turn around, and then that's how they're able to provide such good income to you. Right. So that's what we do. So again, I'm looking out for your best interest here. I'm a fiduciary.
Yep.
That's why, and so I want to make sure you've got enough income set up. I want to make sure you've reduced your risk in the stock market, because the only thing left that can ruin your plan is a market crash, right?
Okay.
Once we have enough income set up, let's reduce risk in the market. And then as for icing on the cake, let's make sure we're very tax efficient.
Right.
So again, bottom line here is, how much protected income do you have, and would you like more? Okay. So pick up the phone. I know it's right beside you. 843-890-2400.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency, and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.